good morning, stroke afternoon to everyone. I hope you're having a good day. Here is some proof. Royalty, actors and pop stars were given exclusive access to a VIP room at the club where the drug was freely consumed. And that's not the only thing that was freely consumed in that secret room behind a secret wall where you have to go through a secret passage through the office. Royalty, actors and pop stars. Who's the royalty? Answer me that. In 2000 that came out. Now that is around the same time that Andrew's going over to Nygaard's Island. Or just after. It's like he done a runner. Went over there afterwards and that getaway. Because in 1999, that same club, according to the Telegraph, stars queued for drugs in nightclub Red Room. I wonder who that was. But here's the interesting thing. Actors and pop stars. No royalty on that one. No royalty. Let's take a look at this one. Royalty, actors and pop stars. This article must have come out first. And then they change it. Actors and pop stars. No, I don't think so. Royalty, actors and pop stars. And by the way, if you go to look for this article online now, you can't find it. They took it down after I mentioned it the first time on one of my videos. Royalty, actors and pop stars. In the Times, 9th of the 12th, 2000, 9th of the 12th, 2000. Let's just check the date on that other one. And, while I'm at it, this is a great ring binder, by the way. This has got all the relevant stuff. Ghislaine Maxwell was being watched at that house, that apartment, that house in that mews, right, which subsequently is only 2 miles, 2.5 miles, 2.5 miles from the Red Rooms. And the funny thing is from Ghislaine's place here, you can draw a line straight to Covent Garden from this little mews that she was living in. And guess what? It goes straight through Buckingham Palace. So I'm suggesting there's an underground tunnel network, right? Don't forget that Henrietta Conrad lives a couple of doors down, or did, from her. Channel 4. Hayley Barlow, Channel 4, who was the woman that later went on to work for the News of the World, and is the one that sent the famous email to Tom Crone, Neil Wallace, Andy Coulson, which proves that they all had knowledge of phone tapping. It just gets better, but it just goes to show me that everything is one big coordinated get-together sort of plan. You know, they got friends everywhere that will stop you at every level. They're everywhere. They're in Channel 4, they're in the newspapers, they're in the police, they're in the government, they're in the royals. It's ridiculous. But anyway, Ghislaine was being watched. Neighbour reveals Ghislaine Maxwell was under surveillance in 1994 over her mucky madam activities on her South Kensington Mews house. Met police officers. Why didn't they stop her? She was being monitored. She was harbouring minors in 1994. And in 1994, that's when me and Daniela go to the Red Rooms. Alright. That's funny, isn't it? Look, because she's gone back in rehab since. Daniela Westbrook brands ex-Brian Harvey a paranoid coke freak. How do you feel now? Ain't you gone back into rehab? You see what I'm saying? You see how you throw shit around so fucking easily and then it all falls apart for you? Fucking joke. Stars. Queued for drugs in nightclub. See, look, and this was the Telegraph. But I showed you it just now without... Oh, no, sorry. Actors and pop stars. No royalty. No royalty. You see what I'm saying? No royalty mentioned now. Oh, yeah, Daniela's a Christian, isn't she? Well, is she? Is she? I don't know what that is if you're a Christian, mate. I've never seen a Christian wearing one of them before. You see what I'm saying? It's just any old story to convince the public, oh, this is what I'm doing now. Yeah, that's what you're doing. That thing round your neck. That thing. That's what you're about. There's the picture that's going to amount to nothing. Right. And that's the very night. That's us going in. That's what I had on. That's what the people saw me wearing that night when she took me through there, which she has fully admitted. And I'll be posting that clip up again. Reebok Classics. Reebok Classics. Some things don't change, do they, Brian? No, they don't. And what's going to end up being the overall problem? Well, that's where people like my ex-manager come into it. And people like this woman. And Childline. And having a database for a load of vulnerable kids that you can take to a nightclub in a secret room. Some good evidence in there. Now look, Jonathan King ran child sex ring for stars. Now here's an interesting thing. The person that done the investigation was Mazen Mahmood, right? And Ben Proctor. Both of these people have worked with Christine Joanna Hart, right? Who was the first person to question me on the Red Rooms. It's interesting how they all link up. Even this geezer, Leslie Bailey, he was out of Sidney Cook's gang. Yeah, the Dirty Dozen, who killed Jason Swift and a few other boys. Probably more than we know. Bill Maloney referred to this bloke as a black fella. Does he look like a black fella to you? He's fucking Casper White, mate. Yeah, ain't no black fella. And this bloke here, Leslie Bailey, someone in his family lived next door to me when I lived in Rivered Close in Walthamstow. As a boy. I said I had a nonce living next door to me. He looked just like this geezer. I think this bloke, Leslie Bailey, was family to the guy that I had next door to me. And they were Welsh. So Bailey's a Welsh name. But, like I say, Jonathan King was Tom Watkins's good mate. Very good mate. And Mazen Mahmood done the sting operation on Jonathan King. News of the World investigates. So, you honestly, really, you'd think he'd know about Tom and this bird and what's gone on in here. Like, you think they'd know, wouldn't you? They do know. They do know. And so, when Conrad Brown, Mazen Mahmood's partner, is hacking me, but they say they're not hacking Millie Dowler, which is happening the very same month as me in the same year, as if Mazen Mahmood wasn't looking into a paedophile ring. Of course he was. Millie Dowler was being trafficked, mate, or prostituted. Right? And here's Ian Puddick. It's Ian Puddick, a first citizen activist. No, I don't think so. We used to have the best police service on the world. Ex-counter-terrorism officer, my dad. And now Puddick works for the Queen. In communications. And then he funds people like Bill Maloney, who tell me my life's in danger. People talking Bahrain. Ooh, who's owned up to that one? Sharon Gow. Yeah, don't worry, Sharon, your recordings are coming soon. We'll let them hear you crying, talking to me about Bill Maloney while you're all pissed up, pretending to be scared. Don't worry, I'm playing everyone everything. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. And in 2015, Daniela thought it'd be funny to drop her son off to me, leave him here, so we're living off my benefits, while she runs off and signals me with this stuff. Pie and mash. Yeah? This is like, I just had a row with her. She left Kai here. I had a row with her on the phone. And then she fucks off and all I'm seeing is this. Pie and mash. Yeah? And you weren't in with fucking Bill Maloney and Puddick. Pie and mash. Yeah. You're all in on it together. And that is why they sent Daniela round to me to plant in my head that what we saw that night in the Red Rooms was Simon Cowell and Sunita. Now, I'd like Daniela to repeat that to the public, because I'm going to contact Simon Cowell and Sunita, and you know I'm going to, and we'll see what they've got to say about it. I'm going to say, Daniela has accused you two of being in the Red Rooms that night. Can you confirm where you were? I know it weren't them, but I'm going to put it there anyway, because that's who she's accused. And she reckons she's reported all of her stuff to the police and that. Well, we'll see, innit? We'll see. So, you know, Puddick's mate, ex-MI5. But when you call Puddick MI5, he laughs, and he works for the Queen. It's like, you're a joke, Puddick. But I do agree with you. I do like a bit of pie and mash, but I like Barney's pie and mash in Walthamstow. If anyone's ever in the E17 area, make sure you check out Barney's pie and mash. Not this pie and mash. Most definitely fucking not. I mean a real pie and mash. It'd be better than this, gaff. I'm telling you now. I eat from there a lot, and it is fucking amazing. It's the best pie and mash you'll ever eat. Yeah, take the piss out of that one. David Shaler. He thinks he's crushed. When Puddick wants to call me mad. There's Puddick's mate, Alistair Morgan. Yeah. Puddick's mate. Couple of Puddick's cards there. Shows that he works for the Queen. NCA. Encro Chat. Emma Sweeting. Team Leader, National Crime Agency. Sweeting. Oh, look. It's Dita Sweeting. At my door with 20 officers. Grinders, gas bottles, people in riot gear. Kidnap me from my fucking house and leave me on forever bail. Who do you think you are? You're getting sued, you cunt. And here's your sister. Sister or wife or someone. This bird's to do with you, mate. NCA Encro Chat. Sweeting. And this woman got put on the New Year's honours list in 2021. 2020. New Year's honours 2021. Night Bachelor, Night's Bachelor, Professor, Dita Robbins, that's got to be him, that's Dita Sweeting. Emma Sweeting, Team Leader of the National Crime Agency. She got put on the Queen's honorary list. She got an OBE. I think her brother or her husband was going for one as well. I think he was. I want one. I want an OBE. I want an OBE. I'll get him. We're going to have to... You know, you're making us worried for your for your safety, we're going to have to come in and get ya. Yeah, because I weren't asleep fucking 2 minutes before you knocked on my door. You come round here, stress me out, and then I got to get fucking called mad for it. Nah, mate, you're not getting away with that. And DCI Simon Werrett. You're not getting away with it either, you fucking sloth. Anyway, there's loads here, you know. I mean, let's just finish on this. Ian Puddick, this is 2018, at Kerry Louise Gin. Sort of. The police officers that come to my gin bar are also from the National Crime Agency. Oh dear, Puddick. And Sweeting and Andrew Guyan and all this stuff's nothing to do with you? Of course it ain't. And the Queen and Prince Andrew, royalty, actors and pop stars. And then Puddick, let's finish on this. Let's finish on this. Puddick works for the Queen, we know that. We know that. We know Peter Jukes is his mate as well. Right? We know we've got evidence against police here. Oh, there's a thing going on. Can you trust the police? No. No, you can't. No, you fucking well can't. No, you can't. No, you can't trust the police. Transcripts of conversations. Look, Reese. Oh, Neville. You cannot trust the police. From Robert Kellaway, who hacked Millie Dowler, and me, dear Mr. Werrett, fake police, who's now a pastor. He's a pastor now. Fucking pastor. Yeah, alright, mate. Yeah, 'cause you're a Christian, aren't you? If you're such a Christian, Werrett, why can't you tell the truth about requesting illegal transcripts from the bloke that hacked me and Millie Dowler? Why can't you do that? Because you can't trust the police. It's very simple. Can't trust the police. Now look, Ailey Barlow. Remember I told you, Channel 4? Yeah? Yeah. Tom Crone, Neil Wallace, that's Puddick's mate, Andy Coulson. Right. Richard Mallet. We ain't got back to him yet. Richard Mallet, who knew about phone tapping, because he wrote that. Does this amount to phone tapping? Word on the street, they're worried they know they set BH up. Rebecca Wade, now known as Rebecca Brooks, news editor, does not want to be called to court. Very unhappy about the way the case has been handled. Really? So she knew all about it and didn't want to be called to court over it. She knew all about the case and she was apparently unhappy. Well, if you're that unhappy, you'll come and see me, won't you, Rebecca? And you'll settle with me. Yeah? Is Scotland Yard sending mallets, the phone hacking evidence. There's the claim. I'm still in the claims. Chancery Division. There's the claim number. That's when it was filed by Richard Mallet, who went on to get done for fraud. You know, but no one wants to listen to me. Mallets. Look, from 2003, is it, or 2002, that one? Unfortunately, Mr. Harvey's medical condition has been such that it has proved extremely difficult to take instruction from me. Mallet knew all about my condition. He knew all about it. And here's the man himself. Solicitor banned from being directors after clients lose £1.8 million. Well, how much have I lost as well on top of that, Richard? Thanks to your fraudulent claim. Yeah? Control of practice. Yeah, there we go. And look, October 2017. Right, prosecution, October 2017. When does Puddick have my computers taken? The next month, on the 22nd, November 22nd. For what malicious communication? But hang on a minute, Andrew Ash. You remember Andrew Ash? The Ninja, the recording equipment that you gave me, to film Andrew Ash specifically, comes out with Richard Mallet's name as an abuser. And you're lot all in this together? You're a fucking joke, you lot, mate. You've been caught, banged to fucking rights. There is no getting out of this for you. I've got you left, right and fucking centre. Yeah, I've got you. Solicitor, banned after illicitly securing millions from investors. Yeah? What about what he's done to me in my case? Yeah? Right. And what about Ian Puddick having my computers taken in 2017 for that reason, so that I don't clock that about Mallet and it comes on top for him? And Puddick does this. He's done this all along in 2015 and no one done nothing. But the police have recognised it. And Puddick funds me equipment for that. I filmed that. James Fielding, he was the one that done all John Wedger's stories in the Express, Baby P. Why don't Wedger ever talk about that? Here's Robert Kellaway. Look who he works for as well. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much, man. It's too much. Look, there's me, poor cunt, trying to go down there and see David Cameron. We've had 2 prime ministers since then, so no one has sorted anything out. How bad is that? Yeah? How bad is that? David Shaler, ex-MI5, staying in Puddick's office. Ian Puddick talking to one of the people that hacked me. Here's the equipment that's the Ninja I keep referring to, what Ian Puddick bought me to film Andrew Ash, who was going to name my phone hacking solicitor, amongst other people like Prince Andrew and Prince Charles, but that was all part of the scam because I was supposed to go running out there with Andrew stuff like it was true and get it all wrong. And then that would have protected Prince Andrew. Look at this, look. Alright, this is what I had to put up with. Yeah, I agree. If you agree, then why did you send the police round to that E17 dude's house? Wait and see. Look at the date, 24th of November 2017. October 2017, Mallet's. It was his conviction date. Prosecution date. Yeah, Puddick can just call me a freak. Police laughed at me and left for not doing anything, obviously, because Puddick works for the fucking Queen. And here's Simon Werrett, the copper that knows all about the hacking of me and Millie Dowler, reckons he's a Christian, trying to raise money for a property off of the people. Christian Police Association. You ain't no fucking Christian, you fucking cunt. Yeah, you fucking cunt. Christian? No, I don't think so, mate. You ain't no fucking Christian. Anyway, this ring binder's going to put a lot of people to sleep. Yeah? So, see you soon, people.
Yes, I was with Brian, so that was like a crazy thing. Like the press used to follow everything we did, and do you know what? At the time, we were just living a normal life, what we thought was a normal life, and it's like the norm. Yeah, and like we just lived in a little house, a little flat together, and that, and it was fun. And you know, he was the love of my life. He's probably the only man I've ever loved. Brian Harvey, probably the only man I ever loved, but like loved, actually did love, and but we were just too young, do you know what I mean? And it was just the fame and everything else, and he just couldn't deal with my addiction. Yeah. Brian hates cocaine, he hates drugs like that. It's a weed smoker like my son, but he hated cocaine, he hated it. People used to go, oh, it's only because of Brian Harvey. It was nothing to do with Brian Harvey why I took drugs. Yeah. I was taking it long before I met Brian. Brian hated that shit. Yeah.
It's easy to do it. People do that though, isn't it? Just sort of criticise.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's easy. Like people used to say, oh, Whitney Houston only because of Bobby Brown. Well,
that's what I was thinking. I mean, that's it. You know,
on a much bigger scale, but it's like, do you know what I mean? And like Brian was a massive talent, and he still is a massive talent today within his. And my son's worked with Brian, even with like Brian's produced stuff with Kai and done stuff, and that makes my heart happy. You know what I mean? It's like they're so alike, like crazy, but.
I've seen what's going on with brother, and you know, like it's sad. Do you know what I mean?
It's not sad. It's real. What Brian's doing is real. Like that stuff about the Red Room and all that stuff about them parties and paedophile rings. Yeah, it happened. It's real. Yeah, I was part of that. Yeah. I was groomed and abused.
I wasn't saying that's not. I'm not saying that's sad. I mean him. Sad that not that he's. I mean the sad bit I'm saying is like.
What's sad is no one's listening to him. It's real. What Brian's doing is real. Like that stuff about the Red Room and all that stuff about. Them parties and paedophile rings. Yeah, it happened. It's real. Yeah, I was part of that. Yeah. I was groomed and abused.
I wasn't saying that's not. I'm not saying that's sad. I mean him. Sad that not that he's. I mean the sad bit I'm saying is like.
What's sad is no one's listening to him.
And he's not. And like people mocking and all that.
Yeah, people are getting mocking because they don't want to. They don't want to hear the truth. As much as this COVID thing, it's made people look at conspiracy theories. And what Brian's talking about isn't a conspiracy theory, it's real life. Yeah, them paedophile rings do happen. Yeah, them paedophile rings did happen on a massive scale. Yeah. That's how I got my fame, was through being groomed and abused. Luckily for Brian, he wasn't abused, but Brian found out a lot about it, and he's rallied and he's done as much as he can to stop it. And people are trying to shut him down for it, and people think he's crazy and everything else. But he has had his house bugged, and he has had a lot of things gone on, and he's fighting a good fight for something that he wasn't even. Thank God he wasn't abused, but he's fighting for all of us that was. And he's got a voice for it, and do you know what Brian is? He might be a little man, but he's got some big bollocks on him. And he's got a big mouth. And he has got a big mouth, and he's been behind the door for things that he shouldn't have been because he was innocent. He's done a lot of things, and I will rally, I'll back Brian Harvey till the day I die. I always would, because I know what he's doing is real. And all that stuff with the Red Room and the secret passage doorway and the things that were going on in there, yeah, we did see it. And I will say it on tape because I know when the James English thing came out, and I think he thought it might have been a lie. When I was with Brian Harvey, I got taken out of my house. And he came home and he never saw me again. It was a very, very tough time. Very tough time, and it's made Brian really ill. And luckily Brian was never abused. But there was a price on his head, and I was getting married to him, and the people that had the price on his head they wanted him in that circle, and they thought I'd tell him what I knew. So they took me out of the picture for a long while, put me somewhere that I shouldn't be, and I had to sign my house and everything over to him. Yeah.
Because I know Brian speaks out even now a lot.
And people call him crazy and utter. He's not.
Yeah.
He's really not, and I've got a lot of love in my heart for Brian, always will. And all he's trying to do is the right thing. And he gets threatened and abused by people.
Do you think that's because of what he's seen with you?
No, it's because he's trying to do the right thing and out these people that have hurt people close to us, myself included. And luckily they never got to Brian.
Is that what
but he did lose his job when he was 17. Because
that's
of it.
What they do though, discredit you.
Yeah, and they've made Brian a prisoner in his own home, and it's really sad because I know what Brian's doing is the right thing. People can call him crazy and say he's ranting and everything else, but I know what he's doing is the right thing. And I have to be careful what I say, because I said to him, listen, Brian, I'll never work again, I have to go to work. But I'm also not a grass, and anyone that knows me knows I'm not a lolly, I'm not. And I've dealt with my shit, and I'm still lucky to be working, I am. And I understand what he's doing, but, you know, it's just, sometimes it's such a dangerous game to be playing with.
Yeah, people,
and he's only trying to do what's right.
Yeah, the people who are grooming, who are trafficking children, are the most powerful men in this country.
Oh, yeah, they are.
But
in the world, actually.
Yeah, the voice of the people is a lot stronger if people unite. If people,
it is and it's not, because people can go missing like this and they never come back.
Yeah, it's very
and that's
true
just the way it is.
Yeah, we've uncovered a lot of stuff on here, and we've made a documentary and stuff, but...
And I'm a mother, and I can't, do you know what I mean? So for me, it's like, and I still need to work, and do you know what? I love working. I love nothing more than playing San Mitchell. It's my favourite thing to do. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's like, I never feel more at home than when I walk on that square. It's for me, it's like I'm alive. Especially when Barbara was there at the time, and that's a blessing. That was a blessing to me. Barbara being around, she'd been around this industry a long time. And I credit Barbara for me coming out the other side of a lot of things, because she showed me how to, sorry to jump onto something else, but she showed me when I was in bad places with stuff. She showed me how to be publicly facing and how to break down behind a closed door, which I never knew to do.
Does she protect you?
Barbara's always protected me. Barbara protects everyone. Barbara's a woman for me that can come through anything that life's thrown at her in life. You know, she went into theatre at a young age, and hard for her from the East End of London, and, you know, she struggled when she was little, and she's talented, and she's a tough bird, you know what I mean? She's not frightened to have walked off. I watched the programme about last night.
Members of the Special Branch and Security Service had sat in on interviews with you along with the Metropolitan Police?
At certain times, not at everything. At certain times, yes.
Only certain times. And it was because of the sensitivity of the...
Yeah, we came to the interviews like around loyalty or something, because I went to a ship, a big Royal Navy aeroplane carrier.
Yeah.
And when I was a young thing, I was taken there.
Don't go there.
We won't go there.
No. But what I meant is the sensitivity of the information. So your prominent MPs,
prominent businessmen, like that and stuff. Sensitive. Yeah.
I think we better leave the helicopter pilot out of this.
No, fine. I think I know who you mean.
If I was a paedophile and I was part of their paedophile ring, would I do that? Would I lose a job that was putting food in my kid's mouth for you? Yeah, he will hear it, Rhiannon, because he watches everything I do. Trudy told me when she lived 2 doors down from him, he used to run in her house when he was with Joanne and look through magazines that I was in and watch me on the telly. Up until a few years ago, until Trudy moved. Trudy's one of my best friends and he hates it. We've all tried to help him. They're not allowed.
Anyone claiming judicial authority has sworn an oath or attestation to the Queen to uphold the common law of the land. I want to talk to the Prime Minister and I want to talk to him now. Well, go and get someone else then. Go and get someone, mate. Look, you can't ignore this. Listen, everyone, phone hacking, News International PLC, not News Group Newspapers Limited. Right? These people put me in prison. They hacked my telephone and they've lied about it in the Old Bailey. They wasted £100 million of the taxpayers' money, right, on a fraud court case in the Old Bailey. I'm telling you the truth. These people have lied. They need to come back to court. I've got evidence right here. Tom Crone, head of legal at News International. He knew about phone hacking. 2002, not 2006, 2007. 2002. You cannot ignore the evidence. Wake up, people. Stop being scared of these people. They don't care about you. Fucking joke, man.
Let's go and do the thing. Let's go occupy.
Well, I'll tell you now, if I don't get to talk to one of them, I'll go to Occupy Parliament and I'm showing you one acceptance. I'm showing you this one, mate. You can't do this to someone.
It's about paedophilia, it's about paedophilia, about phone hacking, paedophilia, celebrities.
But why are you representing these people?
I'm doing a job. I get paid to do a job. I have to do a job. It doesn't matter who's in power, I have to do a job.
Right, I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I asked you a question. Are you doing it? But are you? No, listen, I've got to shout because none of you are listening, and it ain't funny, mate. Do you think child abuse is funny? Do you think the drugging and raping of children in the music industry is funny? Do you think the admission of a murder to a boy is funny? And he knows about it. He knows about it. Yeah, you fucking laugh. Fucking trust us. You ain't gonna fucking win.
Yeah, and like we just lived in a little house, a little flat together and that, and it was fun. And you know, he was the love of my life. He's probably the only man I've ever loved.
Brian Harvey.
Brian Harvey was probably the only man I ever loved, but like loved, actually did love. And but we were just too young, do you know what I mean? And it was just the fame and everything else, and he just couldn't deal with my addiction. Yeah. Brian hates cocaine, he hates drugs like that. It's a weed smoker like my son, but he hated cocaine, he hated it. People used to go, oh, it's only because of Brian Harvey. It was nothing to do with Brian Harvey why I took drugs.
Yeah.
I was taking it long before I met Brian. Brian hated that shit.
Yeah. It's easy to do that. People do that though, isn't it? Just sort of criticise.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's easy. Like people used to say, oh, Whitney Houston only because of Bobby Brown. Well,
that's what I was thinking.
Do you know what I mean?
That's it. You know,
on a much bigger scale, but it's like, do you know what I mean? And like Brian was a massive talent, and he still is a massive talent today within his. And my son's worked with Brian, even with like Brian's produced stuff with Kai and done stuff, and that makes my heart happy. You know what I mean? It's like they're so alike, like crazy, but.
I've seen what's going on with Bob, and you know, like it's sad. Do you know what I mean?
It's not sad. It's real. What Brian's doing is real. Like that stuff about the Red Room and all that stuff about them parties and paedophile rings. Yeah, it happened. It's real. Yeah, I was part of that. Yeah. I was groomed and abused.
I wasn't saying that's not. I'm not saying that's sad. I mean him. Sad not that he's. I mean the sad bit I'm saying is like.
What's sad is no one's listening to him,
and he's not. And like people mocking and all that.
Yeah,
like,
people are getting mocking because they don't want to hear the truth. As much as this COVID thing, it's made people look at conspiracy theories. And what Brian's talking about isn't a conspiracy theory; it's real life. Yeah, then paedophile rings do happen. Yeah, then paedophile rings did happen on a massive scale. Yeah. That's how I got my fame.
Narrative is if you can get enough people saying this guy's a loony, he's crazy, he's threatening, he's of a violent disposition, he's this, he's that. If enough people say that, it becomes part of the story, it becomes the reality, and that's clearly what happens.
Say something often enough and people will accept it.
I think that's true, yeah.
Regardless of the reality, right.
Channel 4 Dispatches correspondent Chris Plumley recently asked my barrister, Michael Wolkine QC, on the subject of police corruption in my case, was this just a matter of a few bad apples spoiling the barrel?
The misconduct of the police in their investigation, in their interviewing, in their gathering of evidence, and in their performance at trial was no surprise to me. Funnily enough, it was a surprise to Ian. And it's no surprise to me because, unlike the public who may hear the headline case, now and again they don't see the day-to-day performance of police officers. Of course I'm willing to concede that there is the occasional good apple in the barrel. But what Ian saw was a shock to him, and maybe a shock to many people.
I dug it out the other day, man, and it was like, I fucking forgot about that. Because she's got something to do with Puddick.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Puddick put her on to Michael Wolkine, didn't he? But I don't
That's
think
right, that's right. Yeah, it was you that told me that, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, finally, the police did take action, but 4 years late.
Mark, thank you for updating us on that. Well, we can now speak to Michael Wolkine QC. He defended Joanne Majelix. Thank you ever so much for coming in. I know that Joanne didn't feel well enough to come and talk to us today, but I know you've spoken to her about this report. What's her reaction to it?
Degree of satisfaction. She's disappointed on a personal level. There's no apology to her. It's probably time for South Wales to respond with an apology which shows their integrity and to speak with grace about how they disregarded her. But it brings back these events, not as if she forgets them ever. Every day she tells me she cries for no obvious reason. Actually, the reasons are obvious. She was disregarded. She was someone who was defamed, written off as because of her less than conventional lifestyle. Maybe it wasn't a steady lifestyle.
She was a former sex worker.
Yes, she was a former sex worker, and so what? And she was wrongly accused during the trial of having been sectioned, mental health section. That wasn't true. And so to face a jury with a person who comes from that sort of background was difficult. Their starting point might also be to disbelieve her. But police, who had the opportunity to look for corroboration of her claims, didn't do anything. They didn't have the wit to examine her phone. On her phone was a text with a wish list of abuse from Ian Watkins.
Do you know why? Because she was in a sort of on-off relationship with Ian Watkins,
Yes.
wasn't she? She'd got this text message from him, which, as you say, clearly outlined his desire to abuse children.
Yes.
She went to the police. Why didn't they look at that phone then?
She went to the police with a laptop. One police officer said that he or she wasn't qualified to examine a laptop. So whereas you and I can look at a laptop and be alarmed and at least interested when we see a picture of an underage child, he or she, I think it was a woman, wasn't interested enough because she wasn't qualified. So Joanne went back again and again and again, 4 times in all. So they didn't ask about her phone, but here was the laptop. And she said, I've got a picture that he sent me. They denied in due course that it was an underage child. It was a child of 4 or 5. During the trial, they claimed it was a child over the age of consent. They were wrong because Joanne didn't count for them.
Here it is, found it. Joanne Nikita, she's called herself on here. Right, let me send you that. Fucking thing. That is the one there, isn't it? Oh, look. Have a look. I have posted this on Twitter before. I might whack it up in a minute, actually. Joanne Nikita wants to connect with you. Hi, Brian. My name is Joanne Majelix. I'm the woman who kept reporting evil paedophile Ian Watkins from Lost Profits. I've been set up by police and CPS for exposing their failings and cover-up. Tom Carhill thought we'd have a lot to talk about. That one.
Yeah.
I forgot she mentioned you on that, actually.
Yeah, well, you know, the reason is because at that time you were still like sucking up information, weren't you? You know what I mean? You were kind of like not knowing what was true, not knowing what wasn't true. I didn't know what was true. I didn't know what wasn't true. I'd only just started speaking to you and I thought maybe she'll drop something you know, with you, because at the time I didn't really know what a game was. I mean, I just didn't know. And I can't remember what I actually really thought of at that exact time, because I can't remember exactly the chronology. But the thing with some of these people is they drop things. It's a bit like Andrew Ash. He's quite clearly a bullshitter, isn't he? But you persevered with him, and then he starts coming out with things like, yeah, I think you want you to kill yourself. Yeah. You know, like he starts just saying loads of stuff that are very damning. You know what I mean? Like David Icke is.
She cries for no obvious reason. Actually, the reasons are obvious. She was disregarded. She was someone who was defamed, written off as because of her less than conventional lifestyle. Maybe it wasn't a steady lifestyle.
She was a former sex worker.
Yes, she was a former sex worker, and so what? And she was wrongly accused during the trial of having been sectioned.
Hello, today I'm here with our first citizen activist exposing police corruption and no friend of Brian Harvey. His name is Ian Puddick.
Brian who? Hi, my name's Ian Puddick. We're just going to make a very short film this evening. We're filming here in my office. Anyone that knows me knows what I do for a living. I have 2 jobs. I'm very, very lucky. I run a leak detection company. We have engineers out on the road who have special technology for going out and finding leaks on things. And the other job that I have is, my background really is I'm a communications consultant. I've worked with the Queen at Buckingham Palace. I've recently advised the Cabinet Office, and I've worked on CEO communications for Vodafone and Rolls-Royce. Anyone that knows my case understands what it's about, and it's really simple. It's about police corruption, and really the root of police corruption, which is the lack of accountability. Police corruption only exists because of the lack of accountability. People will always do bad things. There's nothing you and I can do about that, but the lack of accountability of our police force enables them to cover things up. And I'm going to talk about that very, very briefly in this little presentation this evening. But you know, we're talking about people's lives. We've got a poor chap that's dead. His family's lives are in tatters. That's real police corruption. Real police corruption.
Oh my goodness.
Mine's a walk in the park compared to that. I haven't lost anybody.
So, I don't know when it was, about a year or so ago, people started saying to me, this guy called Brian Harvey's making videos about you.
Rightly so.
And I watched the videos, and this guy just ranting about me.
Yeah.
Effing Sean Atwood, effing John Wedge, effing Ian Puddick, effing... Who's the other guy he's got it in for?
Loads. There's loads. Yeah, Sean, yourself.
Bill something.
Bill Maloney.
Bill Maloney.
Bill Maloney.
Hang on, after me. Come forward.
Come forward.
Victims, come forward.
Victims, come forward.
To be or not to be?
To be or not to be?
No.
To be.
After me, wait for me, get the timing, right? Come forward.
Come forward.
Victims, come forward.
Victims, Come forward.
To be or not to be? That is the question.
To be or not to be? That is a question.
Now do it on your own.
Victims.
No, again. Come forward.
Come forward.
Again, keep saying it. Come forward.
Forward.
Come
Come
forward. Keep
forward.
saying it.
Come forward. Come forward.
Keep saying it.
Come forward.
Now say it quickly.
Come forward.
Come forward. Quickly. Come forward. Come
Come
forward.
forward. Come forward. Come forward. Come forward.
Right now, victims come forward.
Victims come forward.
Victims come forward. Say it fast.
Victims come forward.
Keep going.
Victims come forward. Victims come forward. Victims come forward. Victims come forward.
Now say this. Come forward. Victims come forward.
Come forward. Victims come forward.
To be or not to be, that is the question.
To be or not to be, that is a question.
To be or not to be, that is a question.
To be or not to be, that is a question.
Now, come forward. Victims come forward. To be or not to be, that is the question.
No.
No, come forward.
Come forward. Victims come forward. To be or not to be, that is the question.
Right, we're going to try it like that. If it don't work, then we'll split it up, alright? We've got Andrew's stuff, right? We've got Andrew's stuff. I don't know what the fuck it's going to be.
Well, you've got some
Is
stuff.
that yours?
That's yours, I think. You've got some stuff to play, yeah?
Yeah, I'll show you a little bit of stuff. I'll show you this cunt blowing the fucking... But this geezer, I tell you what, I've been playing this cunt, you know what I mean?
That's
I've
what
been
I was
crying
just
on the
saying to
phone.
him.
I've had this cunt crying on the phone.
Andrew, you wouldn't believe the conversations he's had with Andrew. You just think, oh my God.
But what I do want to talk about that came out is David Icke.
Hello everyone, just a quick one. What did I tell you? What did I fucking tell you? It's been well documented that the British royals often have trouble escaping the paparazzi, making it difficult for the group to have private outings. Yeah. However, over the years, a few enterprising royals clearly took matters into their own hands, creating a way to discreetly go out for a drink and a kid. The solution, a secret tunnel to a London bar. And as you can see just above that, what I was already saying to you, you draw a line from Belgravia, where Ghislaine Maxwell was living, straight through Buckingham Palace, where we now know for definite that there's underground tunnels. We knew it anyway, but there's confirmation from Princess Eugenie's husband. I don't think it gets any better than that. Draw a 2.2 mile straight through Buckingham Palace to Covent Garden. There you fucking have it. A secret tunnel to a London bar. Yeah? What did I say about Browns? Yeah, there's an underground tunnel. That geezer didn't go in through the front. Not if he's behind a secret wall that you got to go through a fucking secret passage to. Through an office. Right? So there it is. I'll leave it up for a couple of minutes, let you look at it, and then I'm going to sign off. So there'll be more from me coming soon. Take care, people.